Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today. And this one is a New King James Version done by Thomas Nelson. And this specific one, you might be familiar with this logo. This specific one is a Through the Radio. I don't know if you guys can see that. It is Through the Bible Radio Network edition of this specific Bible, which is a Slimline reference edition. Now, this is one that pops up on eBay very, very regularly. I see them all the time, but they are also very sought after. And I'm not sure why. I mean, I'm sure it has to do with the fact that it's so thin and it's got a nice cover. And I guess overall it is, yes, a nice edition, but they're very sought after. You see them, they pop up and they sell pretty quickly. But they do pop up and sell very regularly. And usually it's between like 30 and 50 bucks, somewhere in there. $30 for like a more beat up edition, 50 bucks for something like this, where it's kind of like brand new out the box, that kind of thing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at it and see kind of what makes it so special. But again, on the cover, you do have that Through the Bible Radio Network insignia there, and this is a genuine leather cover. You can see that very nice grain pattern. I'm always a fan of this sort of grain pattern that Thomas Nelson used to use back in the day. I don't know if it's stamped or if it's a natural grain, but either way, it's very nice. I like it very much. There's a very small perimeter liner on the edge there, very tightly done. On the spine, we have Holy Bible, New King James Version, and then Through the Bible Radio. On the back, it's stamped genuine leather. We have that perimeter line again and that great grain. And it is fairly flexible, to be honest, especially for like an older leather. I mean, it's not super old, but it's no Allen. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't want when I say like leather soft in a vintage Bible, I don't want people to think that like it's the same as an Allen Bible, because it's not. But it's soft for a vintage leather. I'll put it that way. There are black and yellow head and tail bands and a single black ribbon. We'll look at that in a second, though. You can see this lovely gold gilt. Look at that. So well done. Kudos, Thomas Nelson. Man, just look great. Look at this. Oh, look at that. Just looks so good. So good, that gilt. Very shiny. Oh, so good. But yeah, so we have the one ribbon, and it's a single side. It's a double-sided satin ribbon, a single one, so just one, and it's fairly narrow. But I think that that's an appropriate size given the kind of the overall size of the Bible and its thinness and that sort of thing. Let's take a look at the liners. We do have some nice corner work there, and the liners are black synthetic paste down. Nothing too crazy. And I can't tell if it's reinforced. It doesn't look like it. I can see it coming up on this side, but I don't see anything here. That's just kind of an indentation from this side. So it must not be reinforced onto the book block. And, funny enough, you can see right there, whoever laid it down didn't wait for the glue to dry. So it got kind of a little a little fold there in the tape or whatever it is they use for the binding. And we do have this very nice corner work. Corner work is excellent. Look at that. Very nice corner work. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we have our end sheet there, and that modeled sheet is the presentation page. There we go. And there's your presentation page, a nice clean example. We have the Holy Bible. This is the title page. I'll let you guys pause that and read that if you want to. And if you notice here what they did, this would have been an edition that was produced for Through the Bible Radio Network by Thomas Nelson. So like, I know this is a Thomas Nelson, maybe it'll say it on the next page. But they kind of hid their, I don't want to say hid, but they kind of, brought the other logo to the forefront. So we'll take a look here on the back, and it should say, yeah, copyright 1988 by Thomas Nelson. There's some more information, and some information on the triquetra. And then at the bottom here, we can see that it was the very first printing of this edition, and it was done in 1992. You have the preface. And then this I've seen before, and it's pretty unique. How to use this reference Bible. So it essentially explains all the references to you and how it works. I very much like the brown ink. Kind of an odd choice. Brown, I would imagine maybe red might have been easier, especially if this is a red letter. I don't remember if it's a red letter or not. But I feel like red letter might have been easier because you already have the ink. But for whatever reason, they went with brown. So we'll let them run with it. I wonder if it's more of this kind of like brown red letter. I wonder now. I guess we'll see in a minute. But we have special abbreviations here, a list of them. And then we have our table of contents and guidelines for understanding the scriptures. Understanding the scriptures. I'm getting all tongue-tied today. I don't know what it is, by J. Vernon and McGee. Goodness. So the paper is thin. It's not like super crazy thin, but it's a pretty thin paper. And I'm sure you can tell already there's a little bit of show through, and that's just to be expected given the thinness of it all. Let's go ahead and skip ahead. I really flipping through that long intro there. There we go. So we have kind of the end of it there, and lights. Oh goodness, there we go. Yeah, so that's kind of the end of it. And then you have this little diagram here, kind of trying to help you remember the different sections of the Bible. So you have the Pentateuch, history, poetry, major prophets and minor prophets, and then your kind of Old Testament here, and then you have like the base of other. Let me just show it to you. It's probably easier that way. I'll show you from the top. There you go. Yeah, interesting little diagram. And it does have overcast stitching. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right there. There's a little line of overcast stitching to help it stay together. And we have our Old Testament title page. And an introduction, which is nice to have, with some basic facts and that sort of thing about it. A little outline. Very nice to have that. There we go. Then we have the first book of Moses called Genesis. I'll go ahead and zoom in here for you guys so you guys can see it. And again, this is the New King James Version. And we'll turn the page if it's possible. Get a better look. So we have the book chapter number and verse number up in the top corners, and it's going to be the kind of the beginning verse on the left-hand side, and then the ending verse here on the right-hand side. And then we have double line, not drop caps, but like double line numerals to indicate the start of each chapter. Now it is a double column verse by verse. So what they're doing instead of Pilgrim markers is they are bolding. Like you can see here, number 4, they're bolding the verse numbers of the new paragraphs. Or here, number 8, it's bold, and then 10 is bold also. So that's the way they're indicating it there. And then we have we do have the center column references, and I'll show you those. And we do have the page number at the top center, and that's kind of it. I mean, it's a lot of information, but but that's it. Normally, there's a lot more, right, going on, page numbers and subject headers and all that. But they move these kind of the subject headers here into the text, and they're kind of interspersed throughout. They're not like just at the beginning of the chapters or anything like that. Let's go ahead and get to the poetry. Here we are. You can see that there is some poetic formatting, although we do have some single word lines, so they probably just let it run to the end. They did not justify it, which I can appreciate. I much prefer a ragged right edge like this when it's all like kind of jagged. I prefer that because sometimes when you justify is when you have like when all the text like perfectly aligns down the side. Let's see. Yeah, like this. When you have all the text kind of perfectly aligning down the side, sometimes you get some like weird spacing because for them to accommodate that, they have to kind of like stretch some of the letters out or squish some of them together. So sometimes it can look a little bit weird. I like the ragged right edge here because it eliminates that. And to me, I'd rather have like kind of uniform spacing with a ragged edge than like a nice pretty edge where everything's all kind of weird. So just me. Everybody's got their preferences, right? Then we can take a look at the paper here. And the paper is decent. I mean, considering really how thin the edition is and how thin the paper is, it's maybe like a 22 GSM. It's a pretty thin paper, but the show through is pretty decent. It's not bad, again, given the overall size. So let's go ahead and check out that. Here we can see, well, actually, we'll pause. We'll take a look at Jeremiah's introduction. Or its outline, I guess. Or the introduction. I don't know. Let's see. Let's turn back. Yeah, introduction. With an outline also. Got both. Let's keep going. We'll get to the New Testament and see about that red or brown letter. Figure out which it is. Yeah, there we go. So let's go back to the title page. We're getting ahead. Don't look. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Oh, I went right back to it. There we go, Malachi. Come on, Malachi. You're nice and short. There we go. And we have the New Testament. Words of Christ in red. I don't know that I would call this red. It doesn't look too red. Maybe they should just change it to say like the words of Christ in a color other than black. Make it a little more generic. Then you have a bridge between the Old and the New Testaments. So you have the intertestamental period there, a brief description of it. The Gospel of Matthew, the summary, an introduction and helps and all that stuff on it. Oh, goodness. All right, here we have the Gospel according to Matthew. We'll turn a couple pages in. There we go. And And we can finally see this beautiful red, not really red letter. Here, let's get a close up so you guys can see. I hope it comes across on camera. This is like maybe like a brown or a sepia. It's not really, I would not call it a red letter, but it's definitely a unique and definitely different presentation of red letter. So they don't all have to be like, don't get me wrong, I really love like Schuyler's red letter and like Cambridge's red letter. They do it right. It's a nice deep like blood red. But like they don't all have to be like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, I enjoy it and I like it, but like they don't all have to be like that. I'm okay with a blue letter, or have a green letter Bible, which is really unique, like the words of Christ are in green. I mean, I'm okay with a brown letter Bible or an orange letter Bible or a neon pink. Maybe not so much, but I'm okay with it every once in a while. So they don't all have to be red letter. It's all right. And I know Humble Lamb does a blue, right? A blue letter. And there's been some other blue letters throughout the ages. All right, let's go to the end of the New Testament. We can see here, again, lots of these summaries. And so we have the end of Revelation here, and you can see that it is Revelation. It is red letter all throughout the end of Revelation. So we also have the concordance at the end here. I'll let you guys take a look. Copyright 1983. Kind of a small series of letters there. That's one thing I wish they did the concordance a little bit bigger. I mean, it doesn't have to be like 15-point font or anything, but I mean, a little bit bigger than like 6-point font would be great. So it looks like it's just concordance back here, or the majority concordance. So there's the end of your concordance. Then you have personal study notes, some lined paper. That's nice. Always a good idea to put that at the end of a Bible if you have a couple extra sheets there, just some blank paper to finish up the signature. But there's several sheets there, maybe 5 or 6 sheets, something like that. Then you have your maps. Now, there's certainly been better maps, and there's certainly been worse. These are probably middle of the road. I can appreciate kind of the photorealistic quality of them all. You got some kind of gradients there, and it almost makes you feel like you're in a desert. A burning hot desert. 100 degrees outside. So we got some more maps here. And the good thing about these sort of colored maps with the, even if they have the topography, if the topography is colored and not just in black and white, it's a little bit easier to see the names here. Like I can still read them without it getting too clustered. Then we have one blank sheet and the end sheet, and that's it. So let's go ahead and get you some measurements. It comes in at, where are we? 8 1/4 inches tall by 5 3/4 inches wide. And it's nice and skinny. Look at this. And it's less than an inch. It's about 7/8 of an inch thick. So a nice trim edition for sure. Let's go ahead and look at the fonts. Start with the uppercase, the N and never here. And it's about an 8-point font versus Times New Roman. And look at the N and when. Yeah, about an 8.5-point font versus Times New Roman for the lowercase. So I always go with the lowercase because there's more lowercase than there are uppercase. So I would say about an 8.5-point font for this edition. And it's a very nice edition, very very trim. Look, it lays nice and flat. Look at that. So I guess I can see why people are so in love with this specific edition from Thomas Nelson back in the day. It's definitely a good edition if you're interested in the thin line. Definitely if you're looking for something more portable in the New King James Version, this would be a definite recommend. So, and again, this is the first printing done in 92. Yeah, first printing in 92. Okay, so I'm not getting all confused there. I'm still getting confused. But definitely a great edition. And like I said, they are pretty regularly available on eBay. So if you guys are interested in one, you can probably score this one. I don't know that I'm going to hold on to this one. My goal, hopefully, is to trim my entire collection down to like 2 copies of each translation as far as like text is concerned. And then I'm probably going to keep like all the study Bibles. I like study Bibles because I have the additional notes and things if I need to do research and that kind of stuff. But I don't see the point of having, oh goodness, just a room full of KJVs or NKJVs or whatever the case may be as far as the text goes. So Bible buddies, bye.